Good day, everyone. Today we are considering phrase. What is a phrase? We use phrases every day. Perhaps you don't know, your name is a phrase. My name is a phrase. So we use phrases every day in what we say, in what we write, in our interactions with people generally. So a phrase, what is it? A phrase is simply a word or a group of words that does not make a complete sentence. One, it does not make a complete sense. It does not make a complete meaning. It does not give a complete sense. It does not give a complete meaning. Let me give us an example. Hey is a phrase. A black ape is a phrase. My time is a phrase. My class is a phrase. And so on. A crate of eggs. A white building. A black man. A red car. A tall man, and so on. These are phrases. Now, what are the types of phrase? We have many types. We can start with noun phrase. We also have adjectival phrase. Adjectival phrase. We also have adverbial phrase. Adverbial phrase. We have infinitive phrase. We have gerundive phrase. We equally have other types. We have verb phrase too. Verb phrase. And I think we should make do with these 6 for the day. Let us start with noun phrase. What is a noun phrase? A noun phrase is simply a word or a group of words that performs the function of a noun in a sentence. A word or a group of words that performs the function of a noun in a sentence. Let us give an example. We will continue phrase and with the types. The first one is a noun phrase. Noun phrase. Like I said earlier on, a noun phrase is a word or a group of words that performs the function of a noun in a given sentence. Let us consider this sentence. Mr. Aremu is my teacher. Mr. Aremu is my teacher. Looking at this sentence, there are 2 noun phrases there. The first one is Mr. Aremu. Looking at this phrase, it is a phrase because Mr. Aremu is just a group of words, no verb, and does not make a complete meaning. There is nothing attached to Mr. Aremu as underlined. So it is having an incomplete meaning. Another noun phrase here is my teacher. my teacher. And so these are noun phrases. Why? Aremu is a noun, a teacher is a noun. That what makes it a noun phrase. The next one is adjectival phrase. I said Mr. Aremu is a noun phrase. Why? I said because there is no verb. Mr. Aremu is simply a phrase. Mr. is a noun. Aremu is a noun. My is a pronoun. As you can see, there's still something noun on the pronoun. So my teacher is still a noun phrase. Why? There is no verb in between. Mr. Aremu is a phrase. My teacher is another phrase. And both are noun phrases. Right, we are moving on to adjectival phrase. Adjectival phrase. Adjectival phrase. I'm sure we all can remember the meaning of the word adjective. An adjective simply qualifies a noun or a pronoun in a given sentence. So to now have an adjective as a phrase, that means both will be qualifying. That is, the word adjective and the phrase itself will be qualifying a particular noun or pronoun in a sentence. I give us this example. The boy in the red shirt. The boy in the red shirt is my son. The boy in the red shirt is my son. I can simply do away with this in the red shirt and simply say, the boy is my son. But like we all know, an adjectival phrase or an adjective specifies a noun. Looking at this, we are talking about a particular boy. The boy. Which boy? The boy in the red shirt. So in the red shirt here will be our adjectival phrase. And that will be qualifying the noun phrase, the boy. Looking at this again, in the red shirt, as it has been shown to us, has no verb. There is no verb in between, and that's what makes it a phrase. And it will be qualifying the noun phrase, the boy. Why? Because it is specifying the phrase, the boy. The question has been asked about this phrase, my son. In the sentence, the boy is a noun phrase. Let's represent that with NP. My son is also a noun phrase. These are the noun phrases in this sentence. In the red shirt is simply specifying the noun phrase, the boy, and also the role of that boy, which is my son. In other words, the boy is a noun phrase, my son is also a noun phrase. But for you to identify my son or the boy, we have in the red shirt, which is the adjectival phrase referring to my son. The next type of phrase that we are considering is gerundive phrase. Gerundive phrase. Gerundive phrase. Oftentimes when we hear the word gerundive, sounds strange, sounds big, but it is not. Gerundive simply is from the word gerund. Gerund. And what is a gerund? Simply means nominalized. Nominalized verb in a sentence. And when you say nominalized verb, you are talking about a verb that has been converted into a noun. And simply put again, a word having ing at the end. Let us take this word for instance. The verb is eat. When we add ing, it becomes eating. And this is what is called gerundive phrase. Gerundive phrase. Gerundive phrase. And so anytime we have the word which is a verb plus the ing, it will give us a gerundive phrase. So here's an example. Eating the food. Eating the food was a problem. Now, the gerundive phrase here is eating the food. Eating the food. Eating here is no more a verb. It has been nominalized. It has become a noun. And so, eating the food was the problem, and that is a phrase. Because eating the food is not having a verb. And so it becomes a gerundive phrase. Another example for that is slapping him. Slapping him was the bone of contention, or was the cause of the fight. Let's put it that way. Was the cause of the fight. Was the cause of the fight. And so, the gerundive phrase here is slapping him. And that is gerundive phrase. The next type of phrase is infinitive phrase. Infinitive phrase. Infinitive phrase. What is infinitive phrase? When you say something is infinitive, infinite, almost endless, once you have a word beginning a verb with to, that is an infinitive phrase. For instance, to drink. To drink is an infinitive phrase. To drink is an infinitive phrase. Why? This word drink, it can be a verb, it can be a noun, depending on the context. The moment there's a to in front, becomes a noun. So when we say to drink is pleasurable, to drink is pleasurable to the baby, to the baby. So the infinitive phrase here is to drink. Another example, to drive is fun to her. To drive is fun to her. To drink is pleasurable to the baby. To drink here is an infinitive phrase. To drive here is also an infinitive phrase. And because of the tone, it becomes a noun phrase, or a phrase simply put. The next type of phrase is adverbial phrase. Adverbial phrase. Adverbial phrase. The knowledge of the word adverb will make us understand this. What is an adverb? An adverb tells us how, where, when, why an action is performed. And so understanding of that will help us understand adverbial phrase. Let us consider an example. He left the book. He left the book in the room. He left the book in the room. Looking at this expression, in the room here is where, the place where he left the book. So this is talking about where the book is located. And so here adverbial phrase there will be in the room, talking about the place where the book has been left. Another example, the baby, let me say the boy, ate the food hungrily. The boy ate the food hungrily. This is talking about how the boy ate the food, and that is hungrily. So the boy ate the food is complete, but how he ate it hungrily, it is talking about how. Here it is talking about where. And so knowing this will help us understand, because the boy ate the food hungrily. The word hungrily itself, remember, I defined a phrase as a word or a group of words that does not make a complete sense and does not have a finite verb. Now, looking at it here, the word hungrily does not have any other word, and that's why it is a phrase. All right, let us discuss the functions of noun phrase. Functions of noun phrase. Functions of noun phrase. When we talk about functions of noun phrase, it has to do with, or they have to do with, what the noun phrases identified are doing in sentences. A noun phrase can function as subject of a verb. Subject of a verb. Subject of a verb. Now, before I go on to give an example, what is a subject? A subject is the doer in a given sentence, the performer of an action in a given sentence. If I say he drives the car, he drives a car, he drives a car. He here is the subject. Why? It is the subject that is driving the car. It is the performer of the action drives. And so he here is the subject of the verb drives. And so in the exam, when you are asked what is the function of this expression, if it is coming before the verb, then it means that is the subject of a verb. Let us consider this example. Tunde Thomas. Tunde Thomas eats a lot. Tunde Thomas eats a lot. And we are underlining Tunde Thomas. Tunde Thomas. And the grammatical name here is noun phrase. Noun phrase. And what is the function? It will be subject of the verb eat. Please, this word verb must be quoted. The verb here, eat, must be quoted. Why? Because it is not a normal part of this sentence. Subject of the verb eat, or you can say it is the subject of the verb eats. And like I said earlier on, it must be quoted. If it is not quoted, it will change the meaning of the sentence, and that is why it has to be quoted. And subject here is Tunde Thomas. It is coming before the verb eat. That is why it is subject of the verb eat. Another function of a noun phrase is object of a verb. It serves as object of a verb. When you say object, the object is the recipient or the receiver of the action performed in a given sentence. Let us consider what we considered under subject of a verb. We want to consider it as the object of a verb. Remember, we said he drives a car. He drives a car. This is a complete sentence, but we are considering here a car. And the grammatical name here is a noun phrase. So in the exam, when you are asked what is the grammatical name of this expression, a car, simply put, that is a noun phrase. Now, what is the function? Since it is coming after the verb, and we said the object is the receiver of the action performed. The action performed there is drives. So the receiver or the recipient of the action drive will be a car. And that will be object of the verb drives. Object of the verb drives. We are considering the third function of noun phrases, and that is subject complement. Subject complement. I've explained the word subject, and that is the performer of the action in a sentence. But what is a complement? When you say complement, what does it suggest? And please watch the spelling. It is not compliment. That one is different. If I compliment you on the way you are dressed, perhaps you are well dressed. But this one is a grammatical term, meaning extra information in a given sentence about the subject. So when we say subject complement, that means that particular expression will revert, will refer, will be a reference to the subject in a given sentence. Let us consider this example. Jide Allen was made the class captain. Was made the class captain. Jide Allen was made the class captain. Looking at this sentence, it's complete, but look at this. We're underlining the class captain. Ordinarily, J.D. Allen was made. It can be taken for a sentence. It is complete. It has the subject and it has the verb. But you have gone ahead to give another phrase, which is the class captain. Now, a reference to the subject, J.D. Allen, that is what makes this a complement to the subject, J.D. Allen. So when this is given in the exam, what is the grammatical name for the class captain? You simply write, it is a noun phrase. And what is the function? It will now be subject complement. Subject complement. It is complementing the subject, J.D. Allen. Another function of the noun phrase that we are considering today is object complement. Object complement. Previously, we considered subject complement. This one is object complement. And we're going to reverse the other sentence we used last. J.D. Allen was made the class captain. So we'll reverse it and say, we elected, or we made, if you like, we elected J.D. Allen the class captain. The class captain. And we're still underlining the class captain. Now, we elected J.D. Allen, the class captain. In this sentence, who is the class captain? J.D. Allen. And J.D. Allen is in what position in this sentence? He is in the object position. And that is why it is object complement. So as usual, the grammatical name will be noun phrase, and the function will be object complement. Object complement. Perhaps this last one that we are considering for the functions of noun phrase may be a bit technical, but just pay attention and it will be sorted out. It is called noun phrase in apposition. Noun phrase in apposition. Noun phrase in apposition. What is the meaning of the word apposition? Simply put, let us remove A and P. What is left? Position. Simply put again, the word position has to do with role played by someone or by something. So noun phrase in apposition as a function of noun phrase has to do with giving two roles or two titles to one person or thing in a given sentence. Giving two roles to one person or one thing in a sentence. Let us give an example. Let us say Wale Soyinka. Wale Soyinka. The author of the interpreters. The author of the interpreters. The author of the interpreters is a professor. Is a professor. perhaps not to confuse you, we are not actually referring to this book, the interpreters. Let's just quote it for the sake of this class. The interpreters. Now, Wole Soyinka, the author of the interpreters, is a professor. Who is Wole Soyinka according to the sentence? He is the author of the interpreters. Who is the author of the interpreters? Wole Soyinka. In other words, we are referring to one person. But in this sentence, that same person is playing two roles, or is playing dual roles. So either of the two, either Wole Soyinka or the author of the interpreters, when underlined, will be an opposition to the other. Remember, I said opposition means allocating or allotting two roles to one person or thing. Wole Soyinka is a person. He is also the author of the interpreters. And we are underlining the author of the interpreters. And that is a noun phrase. Why? There is no verb there. So, grammatical name will be noun phrase. The function will be an opposition. An opposition to Wole Soyinka. Questions have been raised, and such questions include what opposition is, what are the positions in this sentence, and what is a professor doing here? Why is it not part of the roles? Or why is it not part of the positions? Now, I want to identify the positions. The positions are 1, Wole Soyinka. Let's say 1. Number 2, the author of the interpreters. Those are the positions meant for an individual. In this case, Wole Soyinka. In other words, an opposition can be defined technically as having two subjects in a sentence referring to one person. Here we have Wole Soyinka, one role. We also have the author of the interpreters, another role, both referring to one person, and that is opposition. Now, what is the role of is a professor? Is a professor, the word is has rendered this a clause. It's no more a phrase. And I said earlier on that a phrase is a group of words or a word without a finite verb. We have is here. So is can stand as a verb, and so will not be part of the roles being played by the two positions mentioned earlier on.